Alright guys, welcome back to the VAR Week in Review, the show that reviews controversial VAR and referee decisions from the previous week. This week, let's get right into it because we have a couple of decisions out there. Bukayo Saka's follow-through foul, we're going to review that. We're going to look at McAllister's elbow to the head from Virgil van Dijk. Usually he elbows other teams' players and gets away with it. Well, this time he elbows his own player and gets away with it. Just this time they didn't want to get away with it. They wanted the referee to see that. So we're going to talk about that. Before that, let's talk about the new offside rule being talked about. Monsieur Arsene Wenger is the one sort of, leading the charge on that. Now, where this sort of started was that the rule that, hey, if your hand or your arm's offside, we can disregard that because you can't score a goal with that body part. So it shouldn't be called offside on. Understandable, applicable as well. Now, how that's sort of evolving is that the whole player can be offside. The whole body can be in an offside position as long as there's one body part that is within the offside line, and then the player would be onside. That's a huge change to the game, huge change to the game, and that's why I'm a little, I'm not sure about it, to be honest. I think that will drastically change how you defend, how you sort of arrange your tactics. I think Hansi Flick will be losing his head right now after seeing that, but I think that's definitely something that, they should really think about and, practice and experiment on the younger games, grassroots level, all that type of stuff, and see how that evolves. But that's what we're working on. But let's get right into the decisions, guys. We got first the Bukayo Saka incident from the Fulham game. Saka gets the ball. He's in the box, gets challenged on from the Fulham player. He takes his knee out first, and Bukayo Saka goes off balance. His leg goes up in the air, and then eventually the leg that took him out makes a connection with the ball. And the referee, looking at it in real time, saw the player going through Bukayo Saka to win the ball and gave it as a penalty. Now, the follow-through foul rule is not very clear. It depends on factors. The referee would have to see if there's recklessness in there, if there's carelessness in there, if there's any dangerous play in there. Dangerous play, none. Recklessness, not that much. Careless, for sure. I think he was careless to take Bukayo Saka's leg out and then getting the touch on the ball. If he didn't take Saka's leg or his knee out first, the connection that he was going to make with the foot or with the ball was going to be with Saka's foot and not the ball, because his leg was still going to be in motion there. And I think VAR completely disregarded that. I think one thing that, again, like I said, not dangerous, not reckless. So there was definitely this sort of, if the referee hadn't pointed towards the spot, maybe I would have been fine with it. I think I would have looked at it and I'd be like, okay, we'll let it go. Now, but when Anthony Taylor has pointed towards the spot, now it has to be a clear and obvious error. Clear and obvious error. How many times has VAR used clear and obvious error to make an excuse for a wrongful decision that they make or they don't make? And in this case, they show us from every angle that the player is touching the ball, every angle, and they're not showing that to the referee. Let me just tell you guys that. They're showing that to the public watching on television or on screen in the crowd. They're trying to sell it to them. They're selling it to them, their decisions, that, hey, see how we're showing you the foul 10 times, like the connection on the ball? What they did not show once to the referee or to the general public is the connection between the knees. The knee of Bukayo Saka that was taken out by the Fulham player, not once did VAR sort of zoom into that and show it from 4 different angles to see why the referee gave that foul. Should that even be considered? And the follow-through foul is definitely something to be considered. So the VAR completely disregards that and just, tries to sell it to the public that, hey, he got a touch to the ball and that's why it should be turned around. I think if it was not given by the on-field referee, I would have been fine with it. After it was given by the on-field referee, there was definitely enough foul in there to give it as a penalty, and definitely not enough clear and obvious error in there to take it off. And that's the verdict on that one, guys. Let's move on to the Liverpool versus Manchester United game. First of all, Manchester United, thank you very much for that win. You can go on to lose the rest of your games that you probably will, but big points taken away from Liverpool, and now Liverpool fans are furious about one particular decision. Maybe rightly so, maybe not so much. Let's talk about it. So Brian Mbeumo, Virgil van Dijk, and Alexis McAllister, I think they come together to win an aerial ball, and I think Mbeumo ends up winning that challenge. In the midst of this, Virgil van Dijk catches the back of McAllister's head. Now, Michael Oliver, on the field right in front of him, claimed after the game in his report that he did not see McAllister down. Now, I don't know if he said that I didn't see him catch an elbow, or if he said I didn't see him on the ground holding his head. I think it was the latter, which is crazy because he definitely saw him. He definitely saw him holding his head down. Now, this is what I'm thinking, because they're in the habit of lying, PGMOL. I'm not saying the decision is wrong. I'm just saying they're in the habit of lying. Now, I think that Michael Oliver probably thought in the incident that, Van Dijk is the one that was behind McAllister, and, he's the only one who could have hurt him. So maybe McAllister is just acting there. He's just, holding his head to get the game stopped. Now, the rule is there. The rule is there that if there is a head injury or a suspected head injury, that the referee immediately stop the play, but Michael Oliver did not do that. He let the play continue, and Mbeumo goes on, and United go on to score the goal. And to which you'd probably be thinking that, United is not going to score here. I'll just call the game back. United end up scoring, and now there's this huge problem because there's this player who got hit by his own player, so there was no foul, so VAR can't intervene. I don't think VAR has the jurisdiction to come and tell, hey, you had to stop the game there because of a head injury, so, scrap this goal because you had to stop the game. And what the rule also doesn't clarify is that, okay, we immediately stop the game if there's a suspected head injury, but what if his own player hits him? Or, what if it's an accident? Or, what if it's a goal scoring opportunity and, are the other teams about to score? Do you let them finish that or not? Because what if, I'm about to concede a goal and, I just, go and bust my head into one of the players and just claim a head injury? Then, is the referee obligated to stop the game there? Probably not. So there's definitely this unclarity within this rule, and unfortunately for Liverpool, I think had the referee probably seen that elbow really hit McAllister, maybe he would have stopped that game. But the fact that Van Dijk was the one who hit McAllister, I think in the process of making that decision, it probably went against Liverpool. And then obviously McAllister came off with the little cap. I don't know if they said that maybe he got a cut in the back of his head. I don't know. I felt like they were selling it a little bit, even though, wearing the hat wouldn't really do anything for them. But, just to make a statement, Arne Slot was like, we're not in the business of faking those injuries. So I'm sure. But I think Liverpool, yes, were hard done based on the rule that the game had to be stopped. But again, if I'm about to score a goal on you and one of your defenders just punches his own defender in the head so that he can go down with a head injury, who's really, at fault here, and, who gets to pay for that? So Man United obviously go on to score the goal. Maybe in that position, again, Michael Oliver, if he had a better look at that, I think he would have stopped the game. Where the contention comes is that, did he see him holding his head as play continued? I think he definitely saw him. There's two other linesmen on the field that would be telling him wirelessly. I'm assuming that, hey, the player is down holding his head. So I don't think that information did not get to him before the goal was scored. But I think there was definitely this element that, hey, it was Van Dijk, the one behind McAllister. So there's no way United was the one making the challenge on him, and maybe McAllister is faking it because they're under attack. But yeah, that's how I look at it. Again, I think the referees are in total communication with each other at all times. So I think it could have been avoided. But at the same time, and it was not in that of a dangerous position initially where the contact. So if immediately stop the game as it happened, it would have been helpful for them. It wouldn't have been that controversial. But what if that happens outside the box and United just run into the box? They have an open goal, they want to score, and Van Dijk is the one who hit his own player in the back of his head. Who gets to pay their, I think that rule maybe needs a little bit more working there. But yeah, I think that's about it. Another VAR weekend review that was, interesting. Definitely some new incidents in there. Fresh incidents, I would say. Arsenal always part of these talk conversations, unfortunately. But that was the VAR weekend review, guys. Let me know what you guys think about these calls. What you think about the new offside rule being discussed. Let me know what you guys think about the follow-through foul that was on Bukayo Saka. How can that rule sort of be implied, or can it be applied better? Let's talk all about that. Put that in the comments, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to follow htown.ref on Instagram and TikTok. I'll see you guys next time.